Welcome back to show with Lana, and today we will be touching a very interesting topic. We talk about inspection, we talk about insurance, and today we will talk about moving stuff.
Yeah.
And our guest today, Scott Dillon, moving coordinator from AAA Movers, one of the largest moving company in Twin Cities. Scott, thank you for joining me today. Can you tell us what is the best time to move in Minnesota?
Yeah, great question. Well, moving's always fun, but I always say the best time probably if you're thinking about cost and comfortability is like October because it's cooling down, so it's not as hot. The summertime is really busy for moving, so if you're hiring, you'll have a lot more opportunities to get the days you want. And then just for the movers too, it's less wet like it is in the spring, and moving in the rain's tough. There's a little less rain, so I'd always pick October.
Okay, interesting. I would say that majority clients are moving during the summertime.
Yep.
So what is the difference like between moving during the summer? Is it more busier or it's more expensive? So what is the difference?
Yeah, so kind of the difference is it is a lot busier. So we do 70% of our business in the summer. It's a lot slower in the winter. Because of that, we have the same full-time employees year round. So in the winter time, you're going to get more likely to have moving companies come down on their costs. So like us, you can see us how good we are the first time because most of our business is referral. So hopefully if you move in the future, you'll hire us. But the summertime is a lot busier because it's just more nicer to move, and people don't usually put their houses on the markets until the spring. So the summertime is just grinding busy.
Okay. Also good to know. But we haven't cold winter and we haven't snow here. So what about if people decided to move out the state to Minnesota or from Minnesota to out the state or somewhere in between Twin Cities and it's a winter, how they can handle this during the winter? Are you guys working?
Yeah, we work. We try to do as many jobs as we can. It does, the snow does play a factor sometimes in the move. Like we always ask our customers to make sure they have shoveled walkways for our guys. When we get there, we can start rolling. But we put down the floor protection. I showed you earlier the neoprene coverings. We'll cover the floors and everything while we're moving. So we'll keep everything dry. But it does slow down. Traffic too can affect it. But most of the time it can be just almost as quick as a summer move and it's not as hot. So I'd still say moving isn't super fun in the winter, but there's more availability and people eager to help you.
Okay, so we can still move during the winter.
Yep.
If it's taking the same time to prepare to move, or our clients and friends need to do something special, like to move over the winter, what kind of services they should request?
I always get a cleaner when I always recommend people get cleaners when they move. But handyman really help out. If you can get people, professionals to hire, because you have so many things going on when you move, you actually a lot of times save money by getting professionals like our industries to come out and help you along the process. Because remember, when the stress level's lower, which is always our goal, is to get rid of the stress in moving. A lot of times you'll save time. You'll take time off work and things like that. So it's not super fun in the winter, but there's less people doing it, so you probably get better prices and more people to help.
Can snow delay the moving, or I don't know what then people need to do if I don't know it's a snowfall? And
so almost never. We've never canceled, as far as I know, is because of the snow. Most oftentimes it's the customers that say that, hey, it's going to snow on Wednesday. I don't want to move. Can we move to Thursday? But it does slow down. Traffic is still a thing, even though really the distance between the two locations doesn't usually affect the total cost too much. But it does slow it down a little bit. It's not as quick as if it's dry. Mostly rain is the biggest thing that can slow things down because you can't set stuff outside and keeping things dry. Rain is actually one of the biggest buggers for moving. So.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And you mentioned about costs, and we start to talk about different seasons. So usually when I start working with the clients, they all the time asking, like, do you know any movers? How much it's going to cost? So let's talk about costs. How much it's going to cost to move? Do you have any some ideas what I can share with people?
Yeah. So I would say, get in touch with a professional right away is the best. We have moves that start under $300, but our average ticket's about $1,500, which is kind of a combination of between households and apartments. The biggest, most heaviest things that you probably want to hire us to move are actually the most inexpensive to move. It's the tedious things that take a lot of time. So getting ahead of it, at least a couple of months before, getting a plan, and being prepared is really where you save the most money.
All right. So, and what include moving service? Again, you just guys come in, picking up stuff, I don't know, putting it to the truck and moving to the new place, or you can help with packing. You can help, I don't know, unscrew and prepare furniture. How it does it looks with perspective of preparation to the move?
Yeah, for preparation, we have packing, storage, and a great junk removal service to help you during the process as well. We also have great connections with people that can help with pool tables and cubicles and some specialty items too. We have connection with garage door businesses and stuff like that. So it's a lot of things that come in when you move. We have good contacts for that, so it's a good way to start. Getting a plan for packing is really good too, because that's really tedious and can a lot of times be more expensive than the move if you have to hire it. So.
How long usually packing take? And does it matter if it's, I don't know, 2-story home with a basement, or it's a luxury home that is like 5,000+ square feet, or just a little single family home with one level and that's it? If it's the same timing or different timing?
Well, for our moves, if you're hiring us, we're going to try to get as much done as we can in one day as possible. We're not going to pack and move on the same day if it's more than like 30 boxes to pack. So we'll probably pack the day before. And anything over like 150 boxes, we might break into 2 days. If we have like 250 boxes to pack, 2-day pack, but still try to do our best to do a 1-day move, because that saves the most money for our customers and is the most efficient.
Okay, I see. So what about moving out of state? If AAA Movers helping with this service, and I don't know, if someone wants to move to California, how much?
Yeah, so if you're moving out of state, number one, I always plan at least 2 months ahead. I would say one of your questions was, about how far to book ahead. Out of your state, you probably want to book that at least 2 months ahead. There's a few different ways to do it. The way we do it is like a concierge service where it's on the truck the whole time with the same guys. So you're seeing the same people at both sides, doesn't change trucks. Sometimes they can come with some more expense for the longer trips, but you don't have to rent hotels, because van lines, which we worked with before, is a great option too. But there's usually a big 2-week time spread between, and it can change trucks and change positions throughout the time, which can lead to some issues as well. And sometimes both those are out of people's price range, and we just can help them load their own truck, because the biggest cost is the transportation. And then we can even recommend people that we usually hire wherever they're going. So at least we can help them on this side and have it loaded by professionals. So when it gets moved down in the pod or the truck, it's a good, cheaper option. But it's, again, the hardest part is driving it. So that's probably why you want to hire us, so you don't have to worry about the stuff. So.
All right. Very often I have a situation when my clients, like we selling their home and they move into their new home. So basically we doing 2 transactions at the same time. And moving became, like very, very, like a lot of pressure, and you need to handle double closing and the moving. So what would you recommend in situation like this? How you can help clients who have situation like this?
Yeah, very, very common, because most times when you're buying a new home, you try to sell the old home to get it, to have the finances. So most of the time we'll do what's called an overnight hold. So we'll try to get your closings as early as you can in the morning the next day, so we can load everything up. You can get out of your old place. We'll keep it at our shop overnight, and then hopefully right away in the morning the next day we'll drop it off after your early closings, or if you could close even the day before. Just so our guys can get right in. That's the best way. Again, we just charge honestly for the resources that we use. So there is usually an extra cost of about $300 to $400 per truck if you hold it overnight. But that's still going to be less than if we have to sit around on the clock for 2-3 hours waiting for people to close. And honestly, movers don't want to sit around. They want to be out helping people. So
okay,
hold it overnight and drop it off the next day usually.
Okay, very, very nice. Let's say once I have very not pleasant situation when my buyers were ready to move and sellers unfortunately could not close, on the house. So in situation like this, when everything is scheduled, how can you help? I don't know, like if it's like some cancellation fee, if something changed like for a month or so, how clients can handle this situation? Because it's scary.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of times that there's things out of your control, and I've seen it all happen. I personally help handle about 100 moves a month. And like I told you, I started as a mover back in 2006. So I've seen almost everything. I've had it where a client, again, was going to be moving, and they found out that day that the other side or 2 sides couldn't close. So we had to take everything into our storage. We come out to a new house, and she had to find a new place. So That's another time when it's good to have professionals doing it, because we had options for her. It was tough for us, and our warehouse crew and our staff back in dispatch does a wonderful job. They're amazing back there. The miracles they pull. Like I told you before this, we had some people at the end of the month this weekend, so we're getting calls on Thursday trying to book for the weekend when we're full and finding spots. So things can come up, but again, if you have everything in your side covered a month before, at least, like I told you, I recommend. Then if those things do happen, we do have some options that are easier.
Okay, so it's interesting, and we have actually a question online. Can you hire to move just heavy items? So, for example, basements, fridge, and freezers, and like heavy stuff.
Yeah, and that's pretty common. What I recommend to people if they are on a budget is, because that stuff's the least amount of time to move. I always tell people the story of I had a guy with a 6,000 square foot house. I gave him the quote. It was probably something close to $6,000 to do everything with packing. By the time we moved, he had moved a lot of small stuff on a trailer, and we just had to move like the 10 biggest items. So I think his move was like $1,200 to $1,500. So just hiring for the big stuff is the best way to stretch your dollar when you're hiring movers too.
So how, I don't know how it's usually priced. I believe it's the same person would like to know, if yes, then how much. So it's like a price per item or price per hour, or how does it work?
Yeah, almost all of our moves are done by the quarter hour with a 2 hour minimum. But in the wintertime, especially, we do have single item pricing that starts as low as like $300, depending on the situation. And oftentimes we also run deals where we can do just a handful of items on a flat rate. If you just want a couple done, and that just kind of varies based on availability and stuff. But like I said, if we're trying to, have you see us move once, so you hire us again and get our guys hours, we'll, sometimes have those deals running.
So if people hire you again, are you giving some discount to?
we try to whenever we can, because anytime someone reaches out to us directly, it saves the advertising money. So we do try to give discounts. And we, a lot of times give discounts to veterans and healthcare workers and things.
Oh, nice, nice. What is their usually discount you provided to clients? I don't know if you can disclose.
Yeah, well, I can't get into too specific, but usually it's around just 5% off labor or something like that. Nice. Just to, again, make it so they can get a good experience. Hopefully hire us again. But not something that's going to make it so our guys aren't going to get a livable wage as they're working for us. So,
great. And please, for someone who watching us online, feel free to ask questions. I can see them, and I can refer to Scott right online for you. So, if we will talk about luxury property, let's say some houses have some expensive items, or I don't know, like heavy items or some collections. How helping you in this situation? Do you have a special services, and how far those clients should start planning the move?
Yeah, luxury homes, the biggest thing I think that people are into is that if you have really expensive things and it's fragile, that's the stuff that's cost the most to move. Some of those really heavy, expensive items, you might even want to crate if you're going to interstate, especially I recommend that. And crating is really expensive, but mostly just the packing part. There's usually a lot of things to pack in a large home, and packing can be more expensive than the moving portion. So again, the more you hire out, the more you pay for, but you get more bang for your buck by doing some of the tedious things by yourself. But our crews in particular can handle a lot of those really heavy specialty items as well. And we've moved them a lot. I've had people hire us to just move 1 or 2 kind of machines in the warehouse, just because they know our guys really take the time and make sure that they stay safe while they get moved.
Okay, cool. Very nice. So let's say if it's a buyer or seller and they just start to think about purchasing a house or buying a house or selling a house. So when would you recommend them to contact you to start planning? Before they put house on market, before we start looking for the houses, or after offer accepted on both sides?
Yeah, I'm going to say as soon as possible, right after that phone call. Just because, like I said, even if you don't plan on moving until later this year, you'll still have an idea of a budget, even if we don't know where we're going. Because like I said, most of the cost in moving doesn't have to do a distance between the 2 spots. So if you have a 5-minute difference of a drive, having 2 extra stairs will make that difference. So you can really figure out how much move is going to cost. And then I'd like to help build a budget, right away, see what we're trying to hit. And then, how can we achieve that? Let's try to make it so we can fit in your budget. And I'll tell you ways that you can, move the process along yourself to get started. So I guess the simple question is, as soon as you can think you're going to be moving, start getting the idea, but at least a month before and at least 2 months before in the summer.
If, let's say, I already asked like very close question to this, if closing postponed that, but
yeah.
this is not a fault of my clients and my friends. So if it's any fee that your company taking, because the move did not happen during this time, or you're flexible and you just giving people like a different opportunities to make a like nice move.
Yeah, we do have a 48-hour, cancellation policy technically. Okay. The biggest thing is we just want to make sure that crew can get another job. So we are kind of lenient about that sometimes, as long as we can get it rescheduled right away. But, for the most part, we know things happen. That's why we don't say, hey, we're going to take half your deposit right away. We just take a small deposit. It's just like, hey, let's hold the date for you. Let's hold some pricing, and we can always adjust it. So kind of like, the more planning ahead is good. And before you even sell would be the best. Because if you can possibly get any overlap, a day where you have both places at once, for example, that's going to save you the most money on your move going A to B.
Okay, great advice. As you see, sometimes I'm working with my clients and I have no idea about this. Let me ask you this question. Let's say even today I had my final walkthrough with my client and I can see that it's like seller completely not ready. Hopefully they're going to be vacated home tomorrow. In situation like this, if we realtors, assisting our clients and we can see that something does not work and nothing was planned before or something was planned, but it does not work on time. Do you have some kind of urgent service when we just can reach you out and you can help, to pack everything right away, and approximately how much time it's going to take?
Yeah, that's all case by case. Like I mentioned, this is the end of the month here. So when I was in the office there on Thursday and Friday, there was a lot of people calling, and I knew that we were full on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. But we do our best. People get stuck in such situations a lot of times out of their control. Luckily, the 2 jobs that I set up on Friday morning for Sunday, they just happened to be really small jobs, and the same crew that wasn't going to work, would like the hours. So we were able to fit them both in for today. So a lot of times we do have to help last minute or same day. I get people calling me, at 10:35 and asking if we can be there by 11. So, things can happen, but especially in the summer, I wouldn't try to rely on that last second service.
Okay. Okay. And you said people basically can reach your company out during a Saturday and Sundays as well. So it's like some kind of phone where they can call, or it's only like working days?
Yeah, we try to keep it staffed as much as possible. Like I have kids, twins, so I don't work a lot of weekends. But there's people that work every Saturday, and we have someone even on Sunday. But even if we're not in, we do have some AI capabilities that can take some information. So when we get back in the office, we can get started right away. So again, we can't always be relied on to be there right away. If it's Sunday at 2 p.m. and you want to move at 3, but during the weekdays we're always staffed, and a lot on weekends too.
Very nice. Again, some of my clients, they can't find services that move can happen like on Sunday. Majority of companies start moving like from Monday and to Saturday. So it's also good to know. From your big experience, what would you tell about common mistakes that people do? I don't know. What would you recommend not to do because they thinking that it should be done?
Yeah, as far as moving mistakes, if you're moving yourself, just being rushed or in bad form can lead to injuries. Incorrect packing of dishes is one of the most common things. Like a lot of times people ask me, I have a little video of how to pack the dishes right, so you can throw it down a flight of stairs and it won't break. And then sliding things across scratchable surfaces like wood floors. People, I still in my head, like when I see people do it, that gives me a cringe. Because that can be one of the things you can do. And then, not using moving pads on things like that are hardwood, and using cardboard on glass and stuff. So kind of like those as far as moving yourself mistakes. And then lifting with your back. I mean, most of the injuries I hear about are from people who moved a lot of really light things and they just bent over to pick it up. So it sounds cliche, but lift with your legs. And, I had a pretty tough physical abnormality, and I moved for years without any back problems. So you can do it. This is, the professionals are used to it. So.
So I understand your company doing packing for people, moving for people, and then what about unpacking and putting items on the places where people want it to be? So it's also included to the service?
Yeah, so we do some basic unpacking with AAA, but we also partner with Rose's Daughters, which is one of another company that's amazing here in the Twin Cities, and they can kind of do that full service of, like the cat posters you have and pictures. They can take it
Nice
down, put it
kids.
back up. Mostly for our senior moves, we do a lot in the senior living community. Myself personally as well, so I've been in a lot of the places in the expos, and we know that service can really help seniors in the process. That's actually one of the biggest reasons I came back to the moving industry is, one of the moves I have really helped someone move into a senior facility, and, the family all thanked us, and it was a really hard transition. So, that's a really good service as well, because packing and unpacking is very tedious.
Yeah, and actually, this was in my another question. Thank you for mentioning it. So, if you talk about senior moving, seniors have a lot of stuff, and what would you recommend? To try to sell the stuff. I don't know, donate the stuff prior moving, or how to handle all this situation. And sometimes they're not ready. They just want all the stuff, and then what you gonna do with this?
Yeah, so I know we talked about this as well, where they want to move and they have a bunch of things they're not going to fit in the small senior living that they're in. So
Correct.
I mean, we have our junk lugger service, which is a great service if you want to get rid of something, you don't want it to go to a landfill. We can take it and rehome it. Or if you do just want it stored for a little bit, we got short-term storage. But I always tell people before you move, one of my answers for mistakes people make is getting more stuff before they move. Try to get rid of stuff before you move. So when you move, it's a lot less expensive to move and less of a headache. And then you have the stuff at your new place that you didn't want at your old place anyway. So probably best to, always kind of give yourself a little clean down when you move too. But yeah, for especially seniors, there's a lot of services that, they'll use, like the junk lugger service, because they just, someone passed away or something, and it's a lot less expensive than having like the building do it.
So did I understand correct? So if you move all these items to a new place, and let's say it's not enough space, you still can help those people to put those left items to somewhere, I don't know, to recycle or donate the stuff.
Yeah, our movers can help you get it to like a place if you like it, like Bridging or Salvation Army. Just make sure they'll take it, because it's happened a lot. We bring it there and they won't take it. Otherwise, our junk lugger service can just take it, no questions asked. There's a service fee for that, but it's not going to go to a landfill. We're going to try to rehome it first.
Okay, great information. What one advice you would like to, it's like must to be known idea
for moving?
For moving.
Yeah, I would say my biggest advice is, let professionals help you, whatever they can, because we're going to be a lot more efficient for it. We'll help you discover a plan, because even if you help moving yourself, if you get us involved early and you end up moving yourself at the end, we'll still save you some great moving advice. But honestly, it'll just take a lot of your stress out of the move. Moving's a stressful time, like I mentioned. A lot of times coupled with death, divorce, or senior living, or it's a dream home. It's still a stressful event. So having someone on your side that knows what they're doing can help relieve a lot of stress, and honestly, a lot of the cost too, taking time off work and stuff. So.
Fantastic, Scott. All great information. And let's say if someone watching us today or will watch us in a recording, and they're like, I love it, I want this service, where can I find Scott, or where I need to call to schedule your service?
Yeah, I would just, you call me directly. My number is 612-930-4610. But the biggest thing is if you contact AAA Movers, go to our website. It's the best place to get started, or give us a call. So like I said, just getting the process started right away. Getting some stress relief on that first call will really be the best way. So our website's probably the best way to go there. So
great. Thank you, everybody who was watching us today. Thank you, Scott, for your time and all great information. I believe it will be very, very helpful to people during the busy seasons, and who knows, next years as well.
Yeah, that's fun.
Thank you all, and have a fantastic rest of your weekend.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy the nice day. Bye.